So inshallah, how are you guys doing? Everybody fine? So inshallah, today and the next class will be the last two classes. I was told by Brother Abu Omar that we need to wrap it up. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to use whatever material we learned in the beginning. You remember we started with my life on purpose. And I went through the whole sequence. What I want to do today is I want to use it. I want to show you how to use this. I'm going to use big words here, but I'll explain what they mean. How to use this as an analytical framework. In other words, as a tool to help you figure out what you need to do when you need to do things, okay? So the question that I'm going to pose to you, and I guess I know the answer, but I still have to ask it. Do you feel that we've done enough for Palestine, for instance? And if you're Syrian, for Syria, it doesn't matter. It's not about any one particular country or event. In general, do you feel that you've done enough? Can anybody say, yeah, I did? Well, we all feel that we let them down, right? That's just, let's be honest. That's how we all feel. Because right before October 7, it was life as usual, normal. We were going on about our own lives. We were going on vacations. We were going to Starbucks. It's like the last thing on your mind was Gaza. Oh, Gaza is still there? It's been 17 years. They're still there? Okay. The Syrian brothers. Today they woke up to find out that Idlib was bombed and a whole bunch of people were killed and on and on and on. It's been going on for 12 years. And if I question some of my Syrian brothers, are you doing for Syria now what you did 5 years ago or 6 years ago or 7 years ago? They would tell you, I wish I could be doing more. Okay? So the answer is yes. Now, how do we turn this conversation in our head? Because it's happening, whether we like it or not. We go to bed and our mind, it's buzzing. You know, we look at the images and the only thought on our mind is, I wish I could do something more, right? So I want to change this conversation that you and I have in our head into something practical. In other words, كيف نستفيد من هذا النوع من التفكير؟ نحوله لطريقة عملية للحياة. How do we convert it into a practical approach to living? And that was the goal of the course in the first place. It was called what? What was the name of the course? My Life on Purpose. In other words, living life on purpose, not entrepreneurially, not haphazardly, not as it comes, none of that. So here's how you would do it. I mean, I can sit here and quiz you and the class time will be over before you arrive at where I want you to be. You look at something like this, and if you remember, the very first rectangle was what? What do you see there? Values. And we spent quite a bit of time talking about values. So here's a question for you. And you don't have to answer me, just in your own mind. Did you honestly spend time trying to figure out what are your top 5, 6 values? Do you even remember the definition of value that I gave you in the beginning? And I quizzed you on it a few times. Who remembers that? On this one, I'm going to stop. Who remembers the definition I gave you for the word values? When you say my values are, what are you talking about? Somebody says to you, oh, you keep talking about Muslim values, Muslim values. What are you talking about? How do you answer that? And then we wonder how, when we get into debates, we lose. It's all about the words, the vocabulary. Every word has a meaning. If there's a place where we should have learned this, it's from the Quran. One letter you change in the Quran, one letter in one word, one accent, kasra, dhamm, fatha, the meaning changes completely. وَإِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ versus وَإِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبَّهُ. One is right and one is kufr. Some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. وَإِذْ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ means Sayyidina Ibrahim was tested by his Lord. وَإِذْ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبَّهُ. See, the meaning changes completely. Then Ibrahim is the doer, the fa'il. إبراهيم. الضمة في النحو الضمة معناته الفاعل. That little movement at the end of Ibrahim makes Ibrahim the doer, the actor, the predicate. He's the one who's doing it. Doing what? Ibtila. To whom? To Allah. Astaghfirullah. Yeah, but all you have to do is just change that one little accent at the end. You see, so in Islam, we Muslims should pay attention to words and meanings more than anybody else. And we learned that from the Quran. And I just gave you a simple example. So here I'm asking you a simple question. How did we define the word values? Who would like to take a shot at it? There's a wrong answer. If you're wrong, big deal. We'll correct you. Things that are important to you, without most, because values in general are things that have value. That have value. Most important, that's when you prioritize them. Then they become 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So if I said to you, let's say that you came up, and I know Suhaib did his list of values. You have your list, what, 5, 6 maybe? Do you mind sharing them with us? This young man attended my first class, this one, about 12, 13 years ago, when he was your age, when he was 12 years old. He's a married man now, and he's still attending my classes, okay? Except at that time, his mother used to take him by the hand. And he still remembers what I taught him in New York 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, okay? This stuff is important. So I asked him the other day, I don't mean to embarrass you, Suhaib, I just want to set for the young people an example. Jazakallah khair, he knows the value of this stuff. And I asked him to do the values like I asked all of you, and he did them. So share them with us, Suhaib. Let me write them down. Do you mind writing them on the board? Yeah, I want to give them markers. So he's going to write them. You can erase it. Because I'm going to need it. Do you have an eraser? Yeah, just erase it. Are they prioritized, Sahib? Okay. So he's going to list them by order of priority, because I asked him to also prioritize them. He started with, what did you start with, about 40, 50? He started with 50, and the exercise was that you put each one on a single piece of paper, and then you break them into top 25, bottom 25. You take the top 25, split them, and then split them again until you're down to about 5, 6. There's no other way you can come up with a real 5 or 6 top list without going through that exercise. All right? So he did it, and he has... okay. So let me ask you a question. Do you mind you and I have this dialogue so that we can demonstrate? Where does Palestine show up here? Okay. So when he says faith, character, family, health, wealth, and constant growth, all of these are values, okay? Now, if I was coaching him and he said to me character, I would say to him, character is being truthful, it's being honorable, it's being courageous, it's being all of these things. Where does Palestine fit in there? So he took a shot at it. He's wrong. No big deal. This is why we need coaches. So I would say to him, no, Palestine has to be by itself. It has to be an item by itself. You'll see why in a minute. So write down Palestine. Write it in red somewhere there. Just write Palestine. The next question I would ask him if I was coaching him, I would say, prioritize these. And let's say it's before October 7th. So now take yourself to before October 7th, and I want you to put a number next to each one of them. Very quickly, just put numbers. Well, you said they're prioritized already. Okay. No, leave Palestine. We just added it. So number the other ones. So it's 1, 2, 3. Watch what happens. So now, fast forward, now it's October 7th. And I'm having a conversation with him. Hold on a second. And I say, what are your values? And he says, these 6. And I say, how do you feel about Palestine? What does he say? Shucks, I wish I was doing more. And I would say, you want to know how you can do more? And he's going to say, yeah. And I would say, how about you add it to your value list? In plain English, how about you make it an important thing that you would work on? So now that becomes there. So write it down again. So now, after October 7th, all of a sudden the word Palestine shows up. Okay? Now the next challenge. Where do you fit it? Would you put it ahead of faith? No, because that means Salah, Siyam, Zakah. I mean, you can't say, I have to go to a protest, so today fish Salah. You can't do that. Salah, inna salata kanat al mu'mina kitaban mawquta. There's no two options. So where would it fit? What do you think? How many would say, I like it to be number 2? Yeah. Because the iron is hot. Right now, things are really bad. I mean, I'm getting reports, I hope they're wrong, that they're rounding up young men and they're actually taking them places and they're like summer execution right there in the field. Only Allah knows if this is true or not, but it just blows your mind. And it was done in Syria. We saw the videos. So you cannot not expect things like that. So let's say that Suhaib decided that Palestine is number 2. Can we all agree on that? At least now. Maybe a month from now, it will be number 3. He will go back to taking care of his character. And then after that, his wife would say, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. And he would say, okay, so now it goes beyond wife, so now it becomes number 4. I'm okay with that, as long as it's one of the top 5 or 6. You see, if you really, really want to make a difference, make sure it's on the list. Not being on the list is not an option, especially for us, the children of Palestine. It's not an option. Do you see how you use this? So now let's say that Suhaib decided that Palestine is going to be one of my big values. My next question to him would be, all right, then we got some work to do. So erase all the top ones. We're going to erase them and focus on just this one. I'm going to teach you how to take this one single decision that he made to make Palestine, Syria, Yemen. If you're Yemeni, make it Yemen. I don't care. If you're Syrian, put it Syria. Put Syria and Palestine. It doesn't matter, one of them. So right on top, all the way in the middle, up on top, rewrite the word Palestine. Okay. So at this point, it is what we would call a concept. It's something that has no definition. Because if I said to him, Palestine, what are you going to do about Palestine? At this point, he's not even sure. Like most of us would be, like, I really don't know. All I know is that I want to do something. And if I was coaching him, I would say, okay, then let's put it down. So if you had to do something, if there was anything that you want to do for Palestine, What can you think of? And now the question becomes, let's characterize what you're going to do. Let's describe it. And notice I'm not saying with any amount of detail. I'm still at the concept level. We're still talking general talk. It's like saying, I want to lose weight. And I said to you, how do you want to lose? I want to move. بتحرك شوي. Okay, what does that mean? بتحرك شوي. هاي قاعد بتحرك. What is that going to do? And you say, no, I mean, I'm going to run. Run, like run or walk? Walk or jog? Fast or slow? Daily, monthly, hourly, an hour a day, 2 hours a day. You see, like the conversation evolves. So right now, it's like saying to somebody, how are you going to lose weight? And he says, I want to move more. We're at that level right now. We haven't talked about how, okay? So if he says to me, yeah, Palestine is going to be my top value. So my next question is, so what are you going to do? Give me an example of something you're going to do. He says, make phone calls. That answer is correct, but it's premature. If we start at that level, then there's going to be too many things and we're going to be distracted. So the question, I'm going to bounce back to him and say, why do you want to make phone calls? I want to bring him backward to Palestine. Why do you want to make phone calls? Oh, he wants to stop it from happening, right? So if we were to describe this one thought, it would be, I want to make a difference. Does that make sense now? It's still conceptual, but it's Palestine, but he wants to make a difference with regard to Palestine, vis-a-vis Palestine. You understand? So let's draw. So in the first one, he's going to say, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference. Now I want you to take a shot. What would you do? What else would you do? And stay at the concept level. Don't give me, details. Let's stay at the concept level. He wants to make a difference. What do you want to do? Something simple, huh? Is that specific or generic at this point? That's specific. So we're not there yet. It's the right answer, but we're not there yet. Yeah. You know what? Let's continue with make a difference, then we'll find another one, okay? So he says, I want to make a difference. So I'm going to follow up, stay with that, and say how. See, now we're digging deep to the how. If I ask how before, then it's premature. So now we need to know how. This conversation about the how is called strategies. This, what he put here, is called a strategic goal. Means high-level goal right below the mission. The mission, the value, the important thing that I want to make a difference in is Palestine, right? So that's the highest. Right below it, you need to come up with strategic goals. The word strategic means important. It means that they take a while to accomplish, that they're not something you get up in the morning, by the evening is done. That's not strategic. When you hear the word strategic, think big, think important, think futuristic, okay? So right now, to make a difference is a strategic goal. So you may want to write on top of it in small words, strategic goals. And anytime you want to do something big, you need to come up with at least 3 strategic goals. In other words, 3 ways of how you're going to accomplish it. Let's go back to the example of losing weight. Let's say I want to lose weight, okay? That's the big goal, right? Now I want strategic goals. One strategic goal would be to eat healthy. That's strategic. I'm not saying what to eat, what to follow, whose system. Is it going to be this system or that system? Or we're not there yet. So I'm going to eat well. Okay. Another strategic goal. How about exercise? That's a strategic goal. I'm not saying how. I'm not saying if I'm going to run or jog or exercise or lift weight. We're not talking details yet. We're still strategic, high level. And then I would say a little bit of stress management. I want to like learn how to chill, how to relax, how to unwind at the end of the day and all that. Okay, so these are strategic goals. Then we go back to the first one was what? Exercise. So I'm going to study and research and look at options and then come back and say, okay, I'm going to do cardio. I'm going to do this. I'm going to see now we are down to the activities level. And that's where you start putting it in your daily planner and start accomplishing them. They're called SMART goals. The SMART goals are third level. We're not there yet. So now we're only talking about strategic goals. So here's the first strategic goal I want to make a difference. How? By saying how, I'm saying what strategies are you going to follow? What ways? How are you going to accomplish that? So give me at least 3 answers for this question. Okay? How are you going to make a difference? What are you going to do? Things that you do every day. Yes. I'm sorry? Boycott. Put down boycott. That's number 1. Continue with the boycott. It's making a big difference, by the way. Starbucks alone lost $13 billion in the last 2 months. Just Starbucks, $13 billion. Yeah. Spread awareness about the Palestinian cause. Yeah. Spreading awareness. Yeah. Dua. Yeah. Make dua. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Make phone calls. Call Congress and call public officials. Yeah, guys. No, let me hear from the guys. Yeah. Get involved with the local public officials in the back. Educate. You see, if we were doing, yeah, go ahead, sister. Contact the media. Yeah. Contact the media. Yeah. Protest. Go to protest. You get the point? Yeah. What is it? I can't hear you. Oh, donate money. Yes, that's a big one. Yeah, donate money. Donate money. So let's say that we have enough under make a difference. Okay? We have enough under make a difference. Can you think of another strategic goal other than to make a difference? Or do we even need another strategic goal to make a difference? What if we took the make a difference and attached it to Palestine and we changed the name instead of it being generic name to say to make a difference vis-a-vis Palestine? You understand? So the strategic goal itself gets elevated to becoming the whole thing. You understand? Now, let's stop here for a second and let me teach you how to make this usable. Because right now, if we were doing some kind of a strategic planning retreat for an organization, there would be tables, and on each table there would be 5, 6 people, and I would tell them to come up with a list, and they'll come up with lists like this. So there would be 5 tables. Each table will come up with a list like this. We'll put them on the board. Okay, but how are we going to be able to make any use out of them? Up until this point, we haven't accomplished anything. We're just talking. What I'm going to teach you now is going to make all the difference. This is the kind of stuff that people do. Students in master's program and PhD program, this is what they learn. I'm going to show you a demonstration. So I don't have them with me. If you go to the Office Depot or to Staples, they have sheets of stickers, little tiny round stickers, and they're colored. So what I usually do is I give it to people. I give each one of them 10. Listen carefully. And I tell them, you have 10 votes. You take your votes, your stickers, and put them next to whichever ones you think we should do. We have just converted this session into a practical session because you have 10. And if, let's say, you like only one, you like protest, you don't want to do anything else. You take your 10, you put it in front of protest. You just gave 10 votes to protest. Somebody else thinks that the best way to do it is to call members of Congress all day long. Just call one after the other. And well, but I also like protests, so puts 5 here and 5 there. This process of voting physically with stickers allows us at the end of the session to find out which ones have the highest vote. You understand? So if there was a whole bunch of people, if you're by yourself, you get to choose. You say, you know what? To me, that's number 1, that's number 2. But what if there is, and this is what nobody ever teaches you, is when you're working with other people, how do you come up with consensus on anything? Most people will teach you how to work alone, whether it's in school, whether it's at home, especially in other countries where the democratic process is non-existent. That is my biggest challenge with adults from overseas. Wallahi, I had a class where there were 4 ministers in the class. Okay? I was teaching a class in Turkey. There were 4 ministers. I'm talking about line ministers, government officials. There was a lot of government guys, but these are ministers. And they would tell you right there, they'd say, we have no idea how to take something like this and turn it into something we can implement. Because everybody has an opinion. You just hear it. See how many of you gave this? So how useful is this list right now, the way it is? Can you do anything out of this? But what if I gave you the stickers? I had them with me. I had them with me until a couple of days ago. It looks like I took them out. But the idea would be for each one of you to come up and vote. And the way you would vote is you peel your stickers and you would come next to each one and put 2 next to protest, 1. You have 10. Everybody has the same number. So you would go there and you would vote, and at the end we'll just count them. We'll say, wow, boycott got like 100 votes. I guess that should be our number 1 goal. So let's say that we did that. And that now boycott came out number 1. Yeah. The thing is, how would I know that you didn't raise your hand too many times? You see, the way I control the cheating, if I can call it cheating, is that I actually buy those sheets from Staples, and I give each person a limited number of votes. Once they run out of the votes, they have nothing else, okay? So at the end of the day, if there's 20 people in the room, usually more than that, I've had as many as 100. So if I had 100 people in the room and I gave each one 10, that's 1,000 votes. But the 1,000 votes are spread out across the wall. Anyway, the bottom line is we want to come up with a list. And that's what I want to do right now. Okay, so let's say that we did that and that protest put on the side here. Let's prioritize them. And we want the top 5. From this, we just want the top 5. Or better yet, the top 3. Okay? Because too many means that we're not going to get anything done. So let's say protest. Pick protest. Which one do you want to be number 2? How about phone calling members of Congress? There's a reason why I want that. Let's calling Congress or representatives. And I don't care what's the third. Pick one. Come on. Boycott. Put down boycott. Now watch what happens to the rest. The rest have lower numbers. The rest have lower votes and so on. So we're going to write them on a separate piece of paper, keep them on the side, so that when we're done with 1, 2, and 3, we can go to 4, 5, and 6. Do you understand? So you don't dump the other ones. You just... So now let's erase this side. Let's take protest. Put protest by itself. So now you're in charge of organizing a protest. Let's say Sister Nada is in charge of organizing a protest next week, okay? What would she have to do? What would be number one? See, now we're getting down to specific activities. Okay, what would be, has anybody ever organized a protest here? No? Yeah. So the first thing you would have to do is get permits, right? So call the city and get permits. Number two, are you going to have speakers or not? So call speakers. And book. Number three, book the dates. Because after you speak to the speakers to see when are they available, the dates. Number four, are we going to need transportation? If it's going to be in another town, flyer goes first. Flyer. Getting a budget in case you need money. Posters. Flyers and posters. To announce it. Advertisement. You can put down advertisement. Advertisement. All right. So you see how we went from Palestine is not even on my list to here we are organizing a protest. See the process? The process is more important than anything else. It's not important what it is you're trying to do. It's the teaching yourself how to progress from concept to activity. At the concept level, nothing's getting done. At the activity level, if you start worrying about what you're going to do too early, you're going to leave out a lot of things. If you say to me, let's go out on a protest, my question to you is, how did you come up with protest? What if there is 6, 7 other things that are more important? How would you answer? How would you answer? What would be an honest answer? If any one of you, I want to focus on the guys now. If any one of you said to me, we decided to do a protest, Brother Abbasi, and we're already, everything is in place. And I ask you this question. How did you decide to do a protest? You remember last week's class, the E2P? Was that entrepreneurial or purposeful? No, the way you did it, that you just came up with protest out of thin air. Would that be the entrepreneurial process or the purposeful process? The entrepreneurial. Because purposeful would have meant that you would have options. And what did we just have? Options. You see how it all comes together? You need to teach yourself to slow down. Don't just start getting things done right away. Slow down and ask yourself, what are my options? Are you even focused enough? Because before you start thinking about what to do, you need to focus yourself on what is it you're trying to do. And we figured that out very early on by saying what? We said, I want to make a difference. So to me, that's focus enough. But if you just said Palestine and you couldn't explain to me what are you trying to do about Palestine, maybe you're just trying to get an education. Great. I'll give you a PowerPoint that will teach you everything from 1830 until now. Doesn't miss anything. It's about 120 slides. Every little detail you want to know about history of Palestine is on it. What else do you want to do? But then let me ask you another question. How would we benefit? How would Palestine benefit if you became a genius about Palestine? What if you became an encyclopedia walking around? You can name not only Al-Hajj Amin Husseini, who were his comrades, who was Abdul Qadir Husseini, when was he martyred, what day, on and on and on. What if you knew all of that? How's that going to help Palestine? But then what if you said to me, I want to spread awareness. Who said that here? Then, so you want to learn everything about Palestine so that when you're talking to people, you can relate information. So spread awareness should be on top of give me the PowerPoint. You see how they come? Not that way, it's that way. So spreading awareness is part of what? Making a difference. Oh, so we start with I want to make a difference. How are you going to make a difference? I want to spread awareness. How do you spread the awareness? By getting education. Education about what? About Palestine. About which part of Palestine? Oh, what happened all the way back to 1860. Oh, okay. Then here's how we're going to do it. Read this book. Watch this documentary. Here's a PowerPoint. There's a teaching. 1, 2, 3, 4. When we are operating at that level, the level of activity, it's fine and dandy, but it's so much better when it emanates from an overarching goal. You guys understand what we're doing here? All right. Let's pick another example. Who wants to volunteer instead of Sahib? I need somebody else to come here. You guys are big, tall guys in the back there. Come. I need one of you to come up here. Jazakallah khair, Sahib. Give him a big hand. He did a good job, didn't he? Thank you, Sahib. Appreciate you sharing. I'm sorry, what's your name? Gio. So, Gio, let's pick something that is a value. So we talked about all kinds of values, right? So which value do you want us to dissect here? Pretend that it's important and it's something we need to pay attention to. Pick a value. I mean, I used the example of losing weight too much, so let's do something else. What's another big value that you think should be on your top 5 and you're not doing a good job? Yeah. Career? Good. So what about career? Can you put it in a sentence? Okay. So deciding on a career. Okay, you know what? Just put the word career up on top. Career. Give me 3 big overarching goals related to getting a good career. Somebody who wants a good career, what would that person want to know or do? Yeah. Okay. So under it would leg number 1 would be get an education or certification, or I mean, if you want to do HVAC, you want to do like plumbing or electricity, that's a career. You know the joke about the plumber? He fixed the guy's plumbing and then the guy said to him, how much? And he said like $200. The guy says to him, wow, that's more than a doctor. He said, I know, I used to be one. You guys missed it. The plumber used to be a doctor. Okay. Okay. So education, qualification, certification. All right, that's one. What's another one? What's another thing you have to worry about? Yeah. I'm sorry? Practicing. Okay. So let's say, assuming that you already have a degree, but it's not enough. So maybe apprenticeship, we'll use another word, like a more sophisticated word. Get training or get apprenticeship. And if you're a physician, what do they call that when you work in a hospital like a slave? Oh, they call that residency. 24/7, you make no money. It's called residency. Whatever it is, apprenticeship. Okay, I know half of my family are doctors. Believe me, they're miserable. Okay, at least they were before they made money. So what's the third one? What's another one? Other than that? Yeah. Oh, networking. Yeah, building a network. Actually, that's the smartest answer that I heard all night long. Yeah, networking. You know, back in 1982, listen to this, 1982, Exxon decided to lay off 400 engineers. So instead of laying them off, they came to us, I was one of them, and they said, if you leave on your own, we'll keep you on the payroll for like 9-10 months, and we'll get you coaching on how to get a job, and we'll do all these things for you. We just don't want to lay you off. Leave on your own. I'm like, okay. I was going to leave anyway. So I took it. It was called a severance package. I took it. The best benefit I got from the severance package was not like 8, 9 months payroll, my check is continuing and I'm home. I'm not even there. The best part was that they put me in touch with a company called Haldane Associates at that time. The cost per person was $10,000. And all they did was taught me how to network. And the way it went was very simple, was to take the name of one single person that I know from my company, from Exxon. So let's say his name was Phil. I would go meet with Phil. He knows me. I report to him. And I would say, Phil, I'm going to be leaving Exxon, and I know you know a lot of friends out there in the industry. Can you share with me, a few business cards of a couple of your friends that I can talk to? And he'd say, yeah, sure. Here's this guy from Allied Chemical. Here's from Dow Chemical. So he actually gave me 5, 6 cards. So then I would say, thank you very much. Would you be offended if I called him up and said that Phil said to call you? See, that's the part that nobody teaches you. I said, no, I won't be offended. Okay. So I would call the first one. Hey, George Mo from Dow Chemical. Hi, who's this? Oh, no, it's his secretary. So how would I get past the secretary? So they taught us to type up a good letter. In those days, there was no PC. You had to actually use a typewriter to type a nice, neat letter to the person, not to the secretary, to the person that says, your friend so-and-so suggested that I speak to you about career opportunities in your company, and I'll be calling you. So you send a letter, you wait a few days, you call the secretary and say, he's expecting my call. Are you lying? Because what does the letter say? I'll be calling you. So you think the secretary is going to stop me from talking to him or her? No, because they're expecting my call. So now my call goes through. Now that I'm talking to the guy, hi, how are you? Phil suggested I spoke to you about your company. What do you want to know? I'd love to have a cup of coffee with you. When can we meet? The best thing you can accomplish is to actually schedule a meeting. You meet with a person and you talk to them about their company. Up until this moment, you have not asked for anything. And you won't. You just say, let me share with you a little bit about what I did at Exxon. Now, at some point, if that person is looking for somebody like you, he would say, you know what, we just happen to have an opening here, or we might have an opening. And here you are. If there is nothing, before you leave, you say, would you mind sharing with me a few cards of some of your friends in the industry that I may be able to speak to? And they'll give you 2, 3 cards. And then you say, would you be offended if I used your name with them? See what happened now? 1, 2, 3, that's a network. I used it. And I actually got in front of CEOs of big companies in the Florham Park area over there. That area is called the $1 Trillion Valley because there's so many big companies. And at the end, I decided not to work because I didn't want a job as an engineer. I went into business. The point I'm trying to tell you here is that this one word that he used, put it down. You put it down, right? So we're going to stop here and say, oh, yeah, these are 3 awesome ways to build a career, right? So let's say somebody came to you like me and said, you know what? You got the education, you have the experience, you got years of experience. You just need to build a network. And you would say to me, how do you do that? The answer to that would be what we just talked about. Except it cost Exxon $10,000 to teach me how to do that, and I just shared it with you in 3 minutes. I literally had to sit in front of the guy, the coach, several sessions where he walked me through it, step by step. And then I went and implemented it for me to have learned it. Any one of you graduating from college, fresh out of college, can use this. You can use the name of one of your professors. You can use the name of your Uncle Joe. It doesn't matter where you start. All you need is one person to start with. And that person gives you 1 card. You go to that person, you get 2, 3 cards. From each one of them, you get 2, 3 cards. Before you know it, you have a network of 50 names. You have to get a job out of all of them, or a career. Okay? So that's the answer. So this is basically how it is. You go there, build a network, and under build a network would be, one step would be get some coaching. That's what I just shared with you. And assuming you got the coaching and somebody taught you how to do it, The next step would be implement it, implement the process. And then it's just a matter of doing it. Now, here's a tip I want to give you. To really build a career and to get a job, even in the worst possible times, recession and unemployment and all of that, if you spent as much time looking for a job as you would spend on the job if you had a job, you would have no problem finding a job. Let me repeat what I just said. When you're working, how many hours do you work? 8 hours? Do you honestly know anyone who spends 8 hours a day looking for a job? Why not? What else are you doing? You see my point? If you spend nearly as much time looking for that awesome career that you're looking for as you would spend actually doing the job, you would have no problem finding it. The problem is that when people are out of work, they look for a job, maybe 1 hour a day, and then they say, oh, I can't find anything. Because you're an idiot, because you don't know what you're doing. You need to get coaching. You need somebody to teach you how to do it. Anyway, do you see how this evolved? Yeah, sure. Adam? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I made a similar deal with my oldest daughter, who's now a mother, and she's been married for 20 years. But back in 2000, she was class of 2000. I made a deal with her. I said, look, if you get a full scholarship at a decent college, at least NJIT, I was targeting NJIT or higher. If you get a full scholarship where I don't have to pay any money, I'll buy you a brand new car. She was like, what? I said, you pick. And she said, Maxima, Nissan Maxima 2000 black with spoilers and this and that. Okay, let's see how much. Cost like at that time $25,000. She actually got a full scholarship and she drove a brand new car to school. Now, who do you think is the winner? Because it only cost me $20,000, $25,000, and then she went to school for 4 years. Didn't cost me a penny. She actually had spending money. She went to the Albert Dorman Honor College of NJIT. Go figure. Now, her brother didn't get a scholarship. He got to drive a Honda clunker for several years. Sufyan. He was driving a clunker, and he deserved it. I gave him the same option. She was smart. He was not. I hope he doesn't watch this clip because he's going to come back and beat me up. All right. Do you guys understand the process? Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. I don't want to complicate it more. I want you to walk away knowing that if you want to accomplish something big, start with that and then define your way in levels. Don't jump to here's what I need to do right away. Before you decide what you need to do, figure out what's important, what's an important goal that you need to do so that you can accomplish the bigger goal. Do you want to try another one, or this is enough for tonight? Any questions? You can sit down. Thank you. Give him a big hand. Thank you so much for helping. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So here's the class is over unless anybody has any questions. I have this PowerPoint that has 106 slides. The person that gave it to me, I modified it a lot and I edited it. The person who gave it to me about probably 10 years ago or more told me, listen to this, that it was prepared for a presentation for Hillary Clinton, of all people, way back, probably 15 years ago. So it was done by some very knowledgeable people who wanted to present it in front of somebody like, even if it's not Hillary Clinton, somebody at her caliber, which means you cannot mess around. You have to do a good job, right? I'd be more than happy to share it with you, hopefully, so that you can get awareness, so that you can have a better dialogue with people. How many would like to have it? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to Sister Nada, and she would forward it to the people on the WhatsApp group. Okay. And I hope, inshallah, you find it useful. We have one more class next week. I don't know if I should give you some homework to do or no. Here's what I want you to do during this week. Let me suggest something. Why don't you think of something grand that you would like to accomplish? And this could be a health issue. It could be a health issue. It could be education, career. It could be anything. It could be Palestine, if that's what you want to do. It could be Syria. It could be anything. And I want you to start with that, and then you work your way down the way we did it here. And that becomes your exercise. Next week, I would ask for a couple of volunteers to come up. And if you're one of them, we will put your project on the board. We'll dissect it, see where you went right, where you went wrong. That level of coaching, believe me, you can't buy it for money. There's very few people that are willing to actually look at what you're trying to do and walk you through it. And I will use the opportunity as a demonstration for you to help you hopefully achieve a big goal. Do you think you'll be able to do that? Okay, bring it on a single piece of paper. It doesn't have to be a big, thick paper, and we'll discuss it, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. I hope you do well this week. I hope, inshallah, there will be a ceasefire and the killing would stop. Let's keep praying. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان في خسر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات تواصوا بالحق تواصوا بالصبر. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم.